Hello, 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 hello. We are live at BMSTE Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in to the show today. As you notice, I am wearing the same shirt that I had on last week, and I'm wearing this for in honor of Premature Baby Week. I think that's what it's called. And my little cousin, Josiah, was born at 23 weeks. He was 1 pound and I believe 2 ounces. Don't kill me if I got the ounces wrong, but it was 1 pound, and he was real quick. And then I also wanted to say thank you to our sponsor tonight. Our sponsor for tonight is Love Shouldn't Hurt NY Inc. We appreciate them for sponsoring the show tonight. And we also want to tell you, if you want to be a sponsor on our show or be a guest on our show, you could go to bmsteradioshow.com and you could put in a request and send us your information so we can reach out to you. We are running some specials for the holiday to make it inexpensive so that people can promote their items. They can promote their events. And if you want to have a guest, if you want to be a guest, you can also do that as well. So we want to say that. And then you could also follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at bmsteradioshow.com. This Sunday, we will be at Clinton Walmart doing our collecting items for our blessing bags from 2 to 5. We'll be there collecting items so that we could try to bless 400 homeless in our area. We did this last year. We did 100. This year we're trying to be overboard and do 400. We'd like to take 200 to the men's shelter on Martin Luther King Avenue. We want to leave them with 200 bags and then find another women's shelter and leave them 200 bags. So if you would like to support us in that, please do come down to Clinton Walmart between 2 and 5 in the parking lot, and we'll be there to collect all of your items. We also wanted to say thank you again to the Mayo family for donating 400 bottles of water for our cause for the homeless shelter, for the homeless this winter. And we love doing this event around Thanksgiving so that we could say thank you and be grateful and give something back to other individuals who may not have a family at this time to spend the holidays with. So we always want to make sure we do this around Thanksgiving. We also want to make sure you go in and vote for BMSTE Radio at the RIP Awards so that you guys can vote for BMSTE Radio for Best New Show and Most Influential. And we want to make sure that you go to the Titan Awards and you vote for RIPT Radio Network as well. That's all of our announcements for today. So we have some beautiful young ladies with us today. Probably about 3 or 4 months ago, I met a young lady on social media named Melissa Holmes during our empowerment brunch, and she reached out to me, and she's a young lady who does a lot of events for domestic violence, and she has a different approach on how she promotes or brings awareness to domestic violence that was intriguing. And she kind of inspired me to tell a story that that happened to me when I was a teenager, that I'm also actually doing a book on, well, I'm part of an anthology also doing it on my experience that I will be talking about, and hopefully being able to impact some other women at an event we're doing this Saturday in Columbia. And Melissa will be calling in. She's actually in New York, but she's coming here to do this event. And these beautiful women here that are on the show this evening, they're going to be participating in this event with us on Saturday, November the 18th in Columbia. And we'll let Melissa, we're not going to steal her thunder, so she can tell us about the event once she calls in. I don't know if she's already, okay, she'll be calling in shortly. But we can, oh, this is probably her right here.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for calling BMSTE Radio. Who do we have on the line?
This is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Thanks for calling in. We were just talking about you.
Oh, you were now, were you?
Yes, we were. So we were just talking about, we were getting ready to dive into the event. And I would like for you to just give us an overview of what people can expect on Friday, and to tell us how we can get tickets, why they would want to come out, and then we can introduce the rest of the panel here with us. So if you'd like to go ahead and get into that, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. You know, this event, I think, is going to change many lives. I know people do a lot of events where they're empowering and they're inspiring others to do, you know, certain things and go out and conquer their dreams or whatever it may be. But I think this particular event is going to be different as far as changing people's lives because of the nature of the topic, which is something that people are not yet comfortable with speaking about, but yet they are comfortable speaking about it in an arena of people that such as themselves, because there's one common denominator, and that's the fact that everybody has come together because of domestic violence. So I think that although it's such a touchy subject and such a touchy topic, each individual has a unique story of their own. And so it's going to be like an open mic discussion, you know, so those that have never, ever thought about coming out and speaking about things that have happened in them years and years and years ago, that now it opens up a dialogue for others to feel free to do that. You know, when they see that there's other people now speaking out, they can now become comfortable with not keeping such secrets, because their story may be the story that may help someone else. And so I think I'm totally excited about this event. When I got this vision, I just saw how impactful it could be, and I had to be very selective in the speakers that I chose, because I need them to bring it. And I don't mean, you know, domestic violence is not something, it's not pretty. And so I need them to get there and, like, leave everything where it is and bear it all, you know, become extremely vulnerable, because people are, you know, they grasp vision when they see it. They don't necessarily guess, okay, you could tell somebody the same thing over and over and over again, but when it's visualized and they see it and they see your heart, they can actually start to feel compassion of what you've gone through, and it touches them and makes them want to feel more comfortable with speaking out. That now they feel like, I've carried this burden for so long now it's time for me to let go of it. And that's the mission for this event.
Well, I can tell you that if you will accomplish your goal, because this will be the first time that I have spoken publicly on this at all, let alone just even have a conversation and talk about it. So I can tell you've at least accomplished it with one person, and that's with one of your speakers. So thank you for giving me a platform to be able to tell my story.
Absolutely. You know, that's what it's about. Everybody needs that, you know, that platform, and I create that platform. You know, I put it out there, and I don't push you. If you respond to something that I post and you're serious about doing it, I'm serious about giving you a shot in doing so. And understand that it's a no judgment zone, because nobody has any room to judge anyone, because we are all there. Like I said, there's one common denominator, that we are all there for the same fight. We're there for, standing in the forefront trying to battle this nasty disease, which is called domestic violence. So there is no room for judgment and saying, okay, well, I don't want to do this because my story may not be as traumatic as hers. And that's not the case. The truth of the matter is that everybody has a story to tell. And there may be someone in that room that may not be able to relate to my story. They might not be able to relate to your story, but there is some other guest speaker there that they can relate to, and that story might be the story that saves someone's life.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Melissa, would you like to go around the table and introduce each person and give them an opportunity to speak, and maybe tell why you chose them to be a speaker at this event?
Absolutely.
Okay. You can go ahead and pick and choose
first,
and start.
Okay. Absolutely. Jamie Hopkins. An amazing individual.
Hey, Melissa.
We had actually been conversating for some time now, and it has always been a back and forth, and it has just never been the right time for us to come together. She actually reached out to me from another group, and we had a conversation, but the time wasn't right, and we had been talk about collaborating and doing some things. And so I don't exactly remember what the conversation was, but we hooked up again, and I said to her, listen, this is what I want to do, and since you are in Maryland, I need you to be a brand ambassador for Love Shouldn't Hurt and help me do what it is I need to do to get back there to do this. And so without question, she was definitely on board with it, and without a doubt, she got it done, and she's like, look, I have this, that, and so forth, and the other, this is what we need to do. And so we sort of kind of sat down and came up with a timeline of things that we needed to do. In that whole process, I had known, we had spoke about briefly, but we really didn't get into in depth of her situation. And so I knew that there was something there, but I didn't want to push it. And so I said to her, one day we were talking, and I said, well, how would you feel about being a guest speaker at the event? And she was sort of kind of shocked that I asked. She was like, who, me? And I was like, yeah. And so she said to me, I believe she said to me in the beginning, let me think about it, because she wasn't sure if she was at that point just yet. And so I said to her, you take your time. Absolutely. Take your time and get back to me and let me know. And so she hit me back and she says, I'll do it.
All right, Jamie.
And so with that being said, I was extremely humbled that she would come aboard to help set things up in Maryland, and as well as to take a leap of faith and step outside her comfort zone as you to now share her story. So for that is why I chose Jamie to be a part of this impactful event.
Awesome. So Jamie, tell us a little bit about yourself, how people can find you, and why you decided to be a part of the event.
Well, my name is Jay, and I am the founder and CEO of Matters of My Heart, LLC, and that is an emotional support program for adult survivors of childhood domestic and sexual abuse. And so I was a little hesitant in the beginning because a lot of my story is about my entire family. And so I was, at the time when Melissa and I first started talking, I was the only one in my family that was talking about what happened in my family. Because in my family, things occur, and maybe you guys don't notice, but I am of African American descent. And so, what happens in our family stays in our family. You don't talk about what happens in the home outside of the home. And so I had to get through a lot of challenges and go through a lot of challenges and obstacles just to tell my story without shaming my family, so to speak. But then my family decided to come out with the family anthology, published by my company.
Really?
Yeah, so my
Oh, that's
mom,
nice.
my mother, and all of my sisters, we just published a book back in January. So I was like, game on. Y'all already told it, so let me go out and now I can freely share the story without feeling like I'm embarrassing them, but also putting them out on Front Street because, family is family. And so I just wanted to make sure that it was a safe ground, but also not to interfere with their emotional healing. Because I've been on this healing journey for some years, but they haven't. And so I didn't want to damage their path towards healing. I wanted them to get it. I wanted them to reach out for help, but I also didn't want to be the one that would damage them even more, because we've had enough damage in our family. We've had enough, abuse in our family. The women were beaten and the children were raped, and that occurred in my family for almost 100 years because the oldest lady in my family is 98. So this has been going on for years and silently because no one talked about it until I wrote my first book a couple of years ago.
Well, you want to give us the titles of those books?
I have 5 books, so I'll give you the first title. Well, let me give you the latest one, The Fraser Chronicles, Stories Untold, Finding Peace After Pain. And it is a family anthology with me and all of my sisters and a couple of cousins. And we write our story about childhood sexual abuse as well as domestic violence.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Who's next? That was a...
So I was a little hesitant at first because my story is about childhood domestic abuse. And then, what happens when a kid watches, is in an environment full of violence? What happens to that child? I have so many stories and so many lessons and so many nuggets that I can share. But I will say this, that I had to, as an adult, I had to unlearn all of the things I learned as a kid. Mm-hmm. And if you want to know more about that, you have to show up Saturday,
November 18th.
November 18th to find out more.
Awesome. That was great. So, okay, Melissa, who's next?
Absolutely. Dorothea Robinson.
Hello, Melissa.
So, I believe someone connected me to Dorothea. I don't remember exactly who it was at the moment. And it was someone that had been following me and something I had posted, and they felt that she would be a perfect candidate for whatever it is I had posted. And so I think, I'm not sure if I sent her a friend request or she sent me a friend request, but at any rate, we connected. And so something else I had posted, and she hit me in my inbox, and she was, she really wanted to be a part. And I actually felt her passion behind it. And so
You're Melissa, you're far away from the phone. We can't hear you.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And so she reached out to me, and so actually I think the second thing was I was looking for guest speakers here, and she reached out to me, and I was on my way getting ready for a vacation, and I was interviewing, and I said she left her number, and I called her. I originally said to her I would get back to her when I came back off of my cruise, but decided to call her before I went on the cruise, and we sort of kind of spoke a little bit. And with speaking with her, I felt something in the conversation that was genuine, and she had this, the way she spoke to me was with such passion that I could relate to in myself. And so I was supposed to make a decision about who I was going to pick for guest speakers after I got back off of the cruise. But I decided then that I had already picked Dorothea. I just didn't tell her until I had come back. And so with hearing some of her story, and I was like, wow, And so I also thought that she would be a perfect fit for this event to share her story on a different perspective. I'm not going to say she would have to tell you herself, or they would just have to show up on Saturday. But that's the reason I picked her. She was so persistent with, like, okay, like in your face, when you really want something, you know, you don't, okay, and somebody say, okay, well, I'll get back to you. She was persistent in letting me know how committed she would be to this project, how she wanted to be a part of this project. She had a story to tell, and she wanted to tell it. And so that's what made her stick out to me, was that, okay, she's in my face, like she's serious about this. She ain't going to back down. She ain't going to let me forget that she was interested. And I love that about her, because that's me. If I want something, I'm like, hey, I'm here in your face every single day. And for that reason is why I chose Dorothea to be a part of this project as well.
And let's also mention that it's a Monday when people are ready to go back to work, and she drove here from
Absolutely.
Yeah.
from Pennsylvania
Amazing.
just to come for this hour show. So that definitely is commitment.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself, how we can find you, and why you decided to be a part of this event.
What do I say? Melissa, we've never met. It's been by communication. And I saw the commitment, her passion in delivering a message about domestic violence. And with this particular topic, unmasking the truth, because there are so many myths. Well, she stays, then it is not just domestic violence. If she gets what she gets, then it's not domestic violence. It's so far-fetched that, please forgive me, but domestic violence has lost its meaning, its luster, if you will, in the way that it's been watered down, that it's like by the wayside. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way. Oh, it's
Yeah.
just domestic violence. Oh, it's
Right.
just that. Like, it's that thing.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely not. And Melissa, her passion, I feel it, because this particular type of event has the capability of breaking open some areas where people, as you said earlier, they don't want to delve into, whether it be because of their own issues, their own past, the family stuff that they don't want out, whether or not they're hurting family, or, I mean, just straight up denial. This weekend, I'm so excited about this because somebody's going to get saved. Bottom line, if it's just one person, I have a support group called the Butterfly Experience, One More Butterfly Freed on Facebook. And that came about after a telesummit that I held with a group of women in collaboration. And there was such need for a place and a space for women to be able to be in a non-judgment zone type of area
So
where they
important.
can talk about, I mean, nitty-gritty stuff, straight up, no chaser. And they need that support and feel comfortable in that area. And so the Butterfly Experience, One More Butterfly Free, came about. And this particular event is just about saving a life.
Yeah.
And domestic violence now, intimate partner abuse,
Yeah.
it is so okay across this world, where there's a country in Iran that they just passed a law where it's okay to beat your wife. By law, you can do that.
Yeah.
So people may want to water it down, sugarcoat it, oh, it's that thing. But it is a plague that plagues this world. And until the truth about domestic violence is revealed, the truth about it, that's the only way to eradicate it. As you started to say, this is National Write Your Story Month, National Write Your Family Month, National Write Your Novel Month. this is the best time to be able to have this type of conversation, because it will get people writing.
Yeah.
It will get people passing the...
Which is therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
So I married my high school sweetheart. We lived together for over 30 years, had 6 children, 2 biological, we adopted 4. You got to come Saturday to hear it. And not that this is a show, but you got to come here. You got to come hear the stories. I can't get into it. It's just too deep and it's too detailed to be able to lay it all out here. But I will share with you, his theory was, well, let me break up furniture, because I never wanted to be considered a spousal, wife abuser. So let me break up the furniture. Well, you still, listen, 6'2",
Violence,
you
right.
still breaking up. It's still violence.
Power and
I
control.
see that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. What? Guess what I'm going to do? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the other thing, the very last thing is this, and this is the best time to do this, and I'm so thankful to be able to be a part of this, is domestic violence has grown another ugly head. It, spiritual abuse, verbal, all that.
gosh,
Now we have the technical side of this,
Yes. Yep.
which
yep.
is a whole
other animal.
another animal. I have a client who has an iPhone. This is a tip. If you have an iPhone and if you are being abused, you need to be able to shut that thing down, because even if it goes down to 5%, say, it will jump back on. If you shut off the location, it will jump back on about 5% so that you can find your phone. But guess who else can find you?
The abuser.
If you're being stalked.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's not about any of us. It's not about it's about the message. Please get it. It is about the message.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
That's good.
I don't know if I'm ready for Saturday now.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Oh gosh. Okay, Melissa, you're
I
up
can't
again.
wait till Saturday. Oh
I
my
can't.
God.
I'm just like, really. Yes.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be
Yes.
amazing.
You have
Okay,
to.
Melissa, you're on to tell us who is next here.
Absolutely. Christal Carter. She's another one. She, I don't remember who sent who a friend request, but at any rate, we connected. She's another one. She reached out, something she had seen, and she was interested. And then she reached out to me when she saw that I was looking for guest speakers for this event, and she reached out to me via inbox that she was interested. And so I also called her before I went on vacation. I had said to Christal that I would make a decision also when I come back. In speaking to Christal on the telephone, briefly speaking to her and hearing some of her story, she also has such a passion for speaking and sharing her story. But on top of that, she brings a different spin to it, because she has other resources, and she has this whole other dynamic that she will bring to this event. And so in speaking with her, I kind of figured, okay, well, this would put a different spin on this event, and this is probably exactly what I need. And so the more I played around with the idea, it just became a no-brainer to me that she would be the person that I would also choose to be a part of this event. And for that reason is why I chose Christal.
All right. You ready, Christal?
This is my first time speaking publicly about things that have happened. My family knows pieces, but the latest situation that I went through, I really found that I had to listen to my inner voice. So that's a lot of what Michelle and I talked about, was that Michelle and I talked about was, things that I had to dig deep to find out, to figure out how to do. And it was, I don't know, for some reason when I saw her flyer, it just was like, I got to do this. This is time to do this, and it just got me to the core of my heart. And then, as I was talking to you all earlier in the hallway about having a child go through this process and through visitation and things like that, my heartstrings have been tied even more to it, to want to really reach out and help the families that are going through the repair process after the domestic violence has already happened. You've got broken families that are not getting any healing.
Right.
And getting them to understand, hey, we need healing, to where the program that we're in right now with my son, I called the lady today and said, hey, we've got to get counseling in there on Saturdays for those parents that are dropping those kids off. So while their kids are visiting, broken is not going to fix broken by a visit with mommy or daddy. So when I saw the opportunity to do this, I was just like, my heart said, do it. And I'm like, I don't know. But it was like, when I talked to her, I just said, okay, you know what? I had already decided pretty much before she told me that I was doing this, that I was doing it. And so I was just waiting for the phone call. So I had to wait for her to get back from vacation to get a confirmation. I said, okay, well, I had already decided I was doing it anyway. So I figured just go ahead and do it. But it got moved to my heart. And you guys will hear more about this on Saturday, that my story's not for me.
Yeah.
Whatever I say can help somebody else. And because a person that was very key to my story, because of something they said to me like 6 months before, it's really what saved my life.
Wow.
So I know my story's not for me, nor is anybody else's that's going to be there on Saturday. And I feel like it's powerful when you can get people to come together to help each other. And want to have, I see these kids, and I saw Saturday, and my heart just wanted to just grab the whole family and go, let me just hug you all and do something. Let me see what we can do to get you some help, because everybody in that room was broken. And somebody needed to start finding some glue to put them all back together. And that's what people are forgetting. The kids are falling through the cracks on this. The kids are getting caught in this, and they're falling through the cracks, and it's so hard. And I saw that Saturday, and I really just wanted to cry. And I was calling back going, what can we do? How can we fix this? So I'm going to actually be involved with the program and going to the courthouse to having them change the program.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be exciting for me. So that's something very new that just happened really as of today because of a phone call I made.
That's awesome.
One of the things I want to say, I did a photo shoot Saturday for the anthology that I'm in, and it was like 13 women, and I'm telling my story in this book, and I'm looking at all these amazing, beautiful women as I'm sitting here with another set of amazing, beautiful women. And Unmasking is definitely the best title for this this event, because we all wear masks. If I were just to walk down the street and see any of these ladies, I would never think they had such a story. And we as women tend to be so hard and judge each other without understanding what's underneath the layers of why that person is why they are the way they are. So I can say that this whole experience has been it's been changing. So okay, Melissa, it's back on you now. I said my little emotional piece there.
Absolutely. Well, of course, to save the best for last. And that would be Miss Bonita Spinner.
Oh, wow.
I don't exactly remember. I think I actually sent you a friend request because of something I seen on a mutual friend page. And with that being said, I think we communicated, and I saw that you were having an event, and I reached out to you wanting to know if you had all your guest speakers or what have you, and at that time you did. And you said to me that you were planning some other events or whatever, and you would reach out. And so I remember us having a conversation. You called me, and I don't remember exactly what the conversation was about that you had phoned me about, and we sort of kind of had this conversation. And in listening to you speak, I was like, wow. Once again, just like Jamie, I felt that it was something there, but you opened up so freely, like you just felt so comfortable with speaking to me like we had known each other for a very long time. And so when I presented it to you, I felt a little hesitation in your voice, and I said, Melissa, okay, don't push it, because if you push, you may lose her. So let her, just put it out there and let it marinate a little bit and see how she feels about it, and then let her come back to you whether yay or nay she wants to do it. And so when I presented you with the idea, like I said, I felt a little hesitation. I felt that you were resisting a little bit, yet you wanted to, but you were having sort of kind of a tug of war with yourself, whether or not you should or you shouldn't. And so I sort of kind of changed the conversation, and we were speaking about something else. And so I remember sending you an inbox saying to you, did you think about it, how you felt? And when you came back and said to me that now was the time, you felt like you needed to do this. And I was like, okay, great. But then not only did you agree to do the Maryland event, you also agreed to be a part of the New York event December 9th. And so that took me like, oh my God. Like, I was so happy knowing that you are another one that will be telling your story for the very, very first time. And I was so pleased that I could create this platform for so many of you all to come out and now share what you had been holding in for so long. And just to know that this platform is going to be that event that is now going to give you your wings to fly free and free others. And so for that reason is why I chose you. And before you speak, you just mentioned a little while ago that name, Unmasking the Truth About Domestic Violence, is the perfect name for this event. Jamie and I just had a conference call yesterday, and I had this vision. So many people have been sending me messages about this event and about the title of this event. And Jamie and I had a conference call yesterday, and I said to her, Jamie, I need you to help me execute this vision that I have. And so when I mentioned to her what it was, she was like, you're dead on it. I say go for it. So when you mention that and the fact of an anthology, Jamie and I was just speaking about doing an anthology book collaboration titled Unmasking the Truth About Domestic Violence.
Wow. Yep.
So, for that reason is why I chose you, my darling.
Thank you, Melissa. So I guess for me, when you're in certain situations and you decide to come out, somehow you tend to, as the person that's involved, think about how everybody else around you is going to respond to you telling your story and talking about your pain. And that was my hesitation in deciding to move forward with this, was because my story impacts everybody. It impacts, my mother. Also, I have been married for 15 years. We've been in each other's lives for 25. He knew of the incident that had taken place, but I just recently, after all these years, was able to tell him about the situation in more details. And I was petrified to have him even read the story. So this will be an interesting thing. But I also had a young lady who is in my circle who has gone through some struggles, and I think, had I maybe talked to her a little bit more about my story, it may have prevented some of the things that she's going through currently in hers. So I will say that she definitely is the inspiration behind me telling my story, and for us to stop silencing ourselves, because that makes it harder for us to be loved. Going into that is one of the reasons I like Melissa's approach, is because she also has men talk about what it's like to love women who have been in domestic violence situations. And when you're in those types of situations, a lot of times you feel guarded, you feel protected. You may, you know, be okay for about a year, and then all of a sudden something may trigger, and then you feel like you're back at the same space. And when you're in a relationship, it impacts that relationship currently because sometimes you feel guarded, you feel protected, you feel like you don't want to let your guard down because something negative could happen. And I love the approach that Melissa has, where she has men talking about what it's like to rebound after that. And that was one of the biggest things that kind of attracted me to what she was doing and her belief. Why does my mother always call me when she does?
Gotta love mama.
Right.
So that's awesome. That was one of the things that I really definitely love about Melissa and what she's doing and her mission. And she's so dedicated and she's devoted and she is inspiring, and that's what attracted me to say, okay, this is going to be the platform that I'm going to use to possibly try to help another young lady not feel ashamed and be okay with saying, because you can't heal what you don't talk about. You can't
absolutely.
You can't. When you hold it in, it just turns into anger. It turns into resentment.
It turns into
It turns into health problems.
But you know what the support system. Well, okay, I look at it this. What I do is women who are coming out, who have decided that I needed to get out, I make the plans. We get together, we make those strategic plans, and I move them around the country if I have to. I figure all of that out. That's what I do. But I'm finding that, and you can see it even in our walk, TV, social media, it's the blaming.
The victim.
The victim. Wendy Williams, she said it, maybe not in the way that she meant it, but my point is this. If women were more comfortable in knowing that, okay, I'm being rejected in the relationship, only to come out to be rejected by the community and the world in which I'm trying to escape to.
Oh, wow.
I might as well stay
So then
here.
I might as well stay in.
at.
It makes no sense to be rejected in,
Right.
and then come out and be rejected again,
Right.
and then you've got the whole world system of how you know how we think.
That's so true.
And trying to educate the community is quite difficult.
Yeah.
But what you just said about sharing,
Yes.
the more people share, the more people share, it's going to eat away at this elephant.
Right.
So I am if nobody said it, I'm absolutely super proud.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm so super proud
Thank
because
you.
it's not an easy thing. Because even while you're speaking, and you, not to give you nervous knots, but even while you're writing, you're speaking, you're just talking in a forum such as this, you're reliving your own stuff.
Right.
Right.
So I want you to know you're supported, and I am
Yes.
so super proud of you
Thank you
because
so
it's
much.
not an easy thing.
No, it's not.
Kudos to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And let me just say this. One of the things that, I hear people say, I've heard Jamie say, I've heard Benita say, and I've heard Christal say, is that you all were so worried about guarding or protecting your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't take anything away from that. And what I used to say when I first started telling my story, it was never a doubt in my mind that I wanted to protect someone else because this is now my story to tell. Because when you all had a chance to protect me, you didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I'm protecting me.
Right.
And I'm protecting my kids. So it was never, of course, in the beginning, I had these people that will say, well, why are you sharing your story? This is your personal, and that's the problem. Because also, just like Jamie, and my mom taught us that whatever happens in your house stays in your house. And those were, and for that saying alone
Yeah.
is why I kept the secret. And because I kept the secret of what my husband was doing, he almost killed me. He put a hit out on me.
So mean.
You lived in the same building as him and didn't even know it.
Listen.
And then because you all didn't believe me the first time, you made it so much easier for me to keep it a second time and almost died in Maryland.
Speak. Yeah. That is so true.
You know, so it never became a question of I'm trying to protect my mom and because now when I reached out to you all, y'all didn't protect me. So now Melissa has to protect Melissa, and she has to protect DJ, and she has to protect Yasmin.
Yeah.
And that's all that I was worried about. Because, see, everybody else was for everybody else then.
Yeah.
So you weren't for Melissa. Melissa wasn't even a part of that equation. So it was never a thought. So I also want people to understand. And I understand that, you know, people have reservations and stuff about, you know, speaking out against family. But a lot of times, if you think about it, your story is the one that may break the cycle for everybody else to come about and say, okay, you know what? It is time. It is time for this secret not to be told anymore. And Melissa is the only one that had the balls to stand up and say it. Or Jamie is the only one that had the balls to come out and say it. Benita is the only one that had the balls. Dorothea, Chris, whoever.
Right.
Because as long as the secrets are being kept, they are passed on from generation to generation to generation. Yeah. And I'm happy to say that I was the one that broke that curse in my family.
Praise God. Hallelujah. That's right. Amen. That's right.
And you know, I mean, I had a middle sister who is now deceased who went through that.
Wow.
But, you know, and she's not here to tell her story and all this and so forth and the other. Now, I heard somebody else say that, I think it was Dorothea that said, you know, back in the days when my mother and them was growing up, it was probably acceptable. Because that is probably how they kept each other in check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she probably, you know, she's at that generation that she doesn't even want to speak about it. Oh, well, it happened about eons ago. Ain't no need of speaking about it now because ain't nothing going to change. But that's not the point.
Right.
And people don't get that. You understand? So for that, I'm also very proud of you all. You know, like I said, not taking nothing away, but now I think it's time for you all to, you know, release and now take care of Benita, and now take care of Jamie, and Dorothea, and Christal. It's your time. Because everybody else had that time, and they missed it.
Well, we have 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure, Melissa,
Powerful.
Saturday is going to be
explosive.
amazing.
So,
Yes.
Melissa, can you please tell everybody where they can go get tickets for this event so that they can hear how they can get tickets? I'm all over the places I was reading.
They can purchase the tickets on Eventbrite. Go to Eventbrite and type in the search bar Unmasking the Truth About Domestic Violence in Maryland, MD. The tickets are available. Tickets are only $25. $25 is a small price to pay to change someone's life, a small price to pay to come out and get some knowledge that you can go back and you can relate to somebody else, informative information that you can pass on to somebody else that may help save somebody's life. $25. You are coming, you are being impactful, you are releasing, you are joining a conversation that is need to be had, you are doing some networking, you will meet and greet personally each individual guest speaker that will be there. We have vendors that will be there. We are going to have music, and there's just so much to gain from this event that it is unbelievable. That $25 is just a small price to pay for what you are going to leave this event with. I promise you that.
Okay, so these women here and myself are going to be speaking at the event on November 18th, the one Melissa just talked about.
November
18th. And I want to go around the room and tell everybody and say one word that would describe how you're feeling right now.
I'm in awe.
Expectation.
I'm excited.
Melissa, what's your word?
powerful. Powerful is my word.
Would be inspired.
Yeah.
I feel so inspired. I feel grateful that I have a platform to be able to promote these types of things and to be able to expand that platform to others, especially for causes such as domestic violence, premature babies. Why I'm wearing the shirt again this whole month. I'll be wearing the shirt for the whole month of November. I just want to make sure that we are doing what we can to be effective in the community.
Right.
So I am so excited about November 18th. You guys should come out. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be an open mic where you can kind of talk if you feel the ability that you want to speak. If you have somebody in your circle that may need to just come, get them a ticket and don't tell them. Just say, hey, you know, I'm coming out to an event and I just want you to come with me. Anybody that you would think that would need to be in an environment full of powerful women, amazing women, and that they can feel comfortable and be warm and feel the warmth and the love, bring them out and to be loved on. Bring them to this event. They don't even have to tell their story, but just being in the environment where others are sharing may be able to help and impact them.
Absolutely.
So I definitely encourage you to purchase tickets for other people. And we have 30 seconds. So thank you.
And before I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for your dedication to this project. Bonita, for you taking the time out to do this show to promote, and everything that you have done, Jamie, that, oh my God, it's just too much stuff to name. And Dorothea, for you and Christal as well, the dedication and coming in, especially you, Dorothea, driving from Philly there to make this radio show was absolutely amazing. I thank each and every one of you all from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for our sponsor, and come back next Monday. We're going to have a great show. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.